Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we are going to be ranking every force damaging spell in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Sam, you got any thoughts on force damage spells before we begin?
They're the least resistant damage type. Also, Bob, it dawned on me in that sentence. Are we nerds? I guess think we're probably nerds, huh?
Well, we've been running a D&D channel for 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
but
nerds.
it just slapped me in the face, that sentence, that headline. But yeah, the force damage is great. I highly recommend take spells with it.
How is this a revelation
I
that
don't
you're
know.
just having right now?
It really just dawned on me. In
I,
mid-sentence when you were like, we're ranking the force damage spells, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I was like, wow, that's about as nerdy a sentence as a person can say. I love it.
I could do better. All right. Um, well, without further ado, let's get on with the video. And we're back. This is a short list. We've only got 19. I'm kind of surprised at that. I mean, yes, force damage isn't the most common damage type in the world, but there's a lot of spells out there.
That's true. It's definitely the kind of the damage type that it's the damage type of magic. So if something is, ice or fire or lightning or the big spectacle stuff that have like pretty clear looks, they get elemental damage spells, but not
Yeah.
force. Force is just like I hit you with raw magic, and there's just not a lot of that.
All right. Well, starting off, we have Arcane Hand.
Also known as Bigsby's hand.
Yes.
Um, I don't know if this one justifies S, so I think we should put it at A because it's sweet, but it's concentration and it's a 5th level spell slot. And I do think it's worse than most of the summon effects, so I think A seems fair for this one. You
Yeah,
get
I'm tempted to put it up into S just because it's so much fun and it's versatile. It has a lot of different ways you can use it, but
yep.
it's probably A.
Yeah. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It does a lot of things. Clenched Fist lets you deal damage to things. You can restrain things with force or push things around with forceful hand. Grasping hand restrains things. Interposing hand protects you. It does a lot of stuff. And it having hit points and armor class is all upside because it's another entity that can get hit like all the summon spells, right? But it's, not as good as a lot of the other summon spells, I don't think. It's cool,
Right.
definitely, though. So I think
Yeah.
you will have a great time you put it on a sheet.
All right. Next up, Banishing Smite.
I don't think I am allowed to fail this thing, but it
Now,
sure is
of
bad.
the Smite spells, it's the most powerful.
Maybe it has it's really awkward. It's one of the few 5th level options because you normally can't smite with 5th level spell slots. So that's odd on its own, meritable. It has this weird execute, so the banishment requirement happens if they go to under 50 hit points, which is when you at least care about banishing it.
Yeah.
So eh, it is
Just
still
it kind of
something.
steals your kill.
Yeah, it's 5d10 force damage for a 5th level slot as a bonus action. D. I think
Yeah.
it's not that much better than a 4th level Divine Smite, and I think you'd rather have 5th level slots on other exciting things than this.
All right. Speaking of not as much bang as you might want to get for your buck, we have Blade of Disaster.
I do want to fail this one. I do think this is worth
Really?
failing. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Mordenkainen's sword. That one
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
fail.
God. Yeah.
Blade of Disasters, the 9th level version that gets 2 attacks and has the cool crit thing. It's not as much juice for the squeeze. You're right for a 9th level spell slot. I want my 9th level spells to have an enormous splashy impact effect. This has a pretty cool effect though. It is still a really tall order for concentration for your 9th level slot.
And single target damage.
It can attack twice, so you can attack 2 things if you want to.
All right. But I would say as opposed to area damage.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think this still probably can get a C. I don't think it's uncastable as far as 9th level spells go. I think it will have a high impact in a lot of fights, especially against set piece monsters. Going against a Kraken and just wailing into it with this thing round after round after round. It doesn't take that many rounds for it to add up that damage very fast. Your fighter will feel oh, why am I attacking whenever he's doing as much damage as me and casting 8th, 7th, and 6th level spells? But it's not game warping or particularly powerful compared to a lot of these spells that exist.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, see this one come up again and again. Chaos Bolt.
This is one of the few spells in the game that does the elemental damage types and also does force damage. Normally we'd see like absorb elements on these lists. Doesn't qualify because it doesn't deal force damage, but this one sure does. I hate that. D. This is for the same reason we always give it a D. It is worse chromatic orb by a lot, and the chance of it jumping is not worth the variance of it. I think it's like it fails to deliver you the promise of being chaotic.
Yeah.
It technically does something, but it's not worth more than a D.
No, it's I mean, it's just like casting it feels like you're casting just crap damage spell, and I don't feel like I'm casting any kind of elements or different kind of feeling things. It's just boom, damage.
Where's the chaos? Where's the excitement?
Yes.
It's just it did fire damage this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Dark Star.
All right, this one's from Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. It's an old, well, not an oldie, but it's like a out of left field, not commonly used spell.
Yeah.
To my knowledge. So this thing makes, it's an 8th level spell that makes a giant black hole that does 8d10 force damage to things in it, and it's pretty cool. It's got a radius of 40 feet, so it's an enormous area. It makes everything in the area like difficult terrain and like suck towards the center. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't suck things towards the center, it disintegrates them if it kills them. That's fun.
Oh.
8d10 force damage is a lot of force damage for every single round. I think this thing gets a solid B.
That sounds fair.
It's an 8th level spell that is mainly just damage, but like it's a lot of damage in a really big area.
In a huge area, yes.
Yeah. 2 rounds of this is going to end a lot of fights.
Well, yes. Speaking of spells that disintegrate things, disintegrate.
Yeah, I love this spell. It's not amazing. It's just the floor on disintegrate is really, really, really low. Because sometimes you'll spend a 6th level slot and get stone nothing because you'll miss. Well, not even miss, I'm sorry, they'll pass the save. If they fail the save, it's just damage. And just damage for a 6th level slot is not like it's not deliberately amazing, but there's still just like the you explode now that makes me happy internally. Is C fair for this? Or should it be a B? It is a lot of damage. 10d6 plus 40 is a lot of raw damage.
And it's I mean, I don't know how much it matters, but if you do kill something with it, then the resurrection options for that creature are limited.
Very slim. In fact, just 2 resurrection, I believe, gets around it.
Yeah.
And that might matter in some campaigns, especially if you get up there in level.
I don't know if that brings it to a B, but I mean,
does Source for meta magic imposing disadvantage on the save bring it to a B? It's one of the 2 classes that gets it, maybe. But it's definitely better in that situation.
Is it also twinnable?
Sure is. Yeah, sure. Let's give it a B.
All right.
I love Disintegrate. This might be the most overrated here on the list, but I like this thing a lot.
And like you said, it is a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Draconic Transformation.
It astounds me that this does force damage. Like, that's a mode that it gets, but it sure is a mode that this thing gets. I'm sorry, that's not even a mode this thing gets. This is a 7th level spell from Fizzbands. I was thinking of the breath, the reusable breath as a 2nd level spell. This is a 7th level spell that kind of turns you into a dragon. It gives you blind sight and a bonus action 60-foot cone, 68 force damage breath weapon. Yeah, that's neat. It's bonus action to cast. You get the breath weapon immediately, right?
And you can fly.
No, you don't get the breath weapon immediately. Oh yeah, you do. You get flight, I think, right? I'm assuming.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, you get wings. You get a 60-foot fly speed. That makes sense. 7th level's a lot, but flight paired with a 68 bonus damage action to massive cone seems awesome. I think it's definitely going to be one of those spells where like you'll take to the skies with it, you'll let out the cone of breath, and everyone's going to be like, that's the problem. And then you will be promptly shot down and fall to your death, right? But like, it's really cool. It's got the big splashy 7th level effect.
I mean, you don't have to fly, or you can fly low enough to where your fall damage isn't going to destroy you.
True. It also comes with blindside 30 feet, which is technically something, although I don't think it's going to be happening that often unless you're in pitch darkness, which is, if you are in pitch darkness, that is really huge upside.
Yeah.
7th level is still a lot, and I think the downsides on this are pretty steep, so I think like C seems pretty reasonable to me. Ooh, concentration for a minute is a tall order. 2 rounds of this I don't think is enough to justify the cast. I think you need 3, and 3 is where I'm stretching the concentration lasting.
Yeah, I guess you are painting yourself a pretty big target.
Yeah, who are they going to target? The angry man with the axe or the person flying around with spectral wings breathing giant cones of death?
Yeah.
Ah!
All right, fair enough. Next up, the old classic Eldritch Blast.
In a vacuum, it's probably a B. In context, it's definitely an S. It's a build.
Uh, what-
It's
yeah, and it's very customizable, upgradable.
That's why it's an S. Like if you
Yeah,
just did, it's a D10 that you get attack rolls, force counter level, and nothing else. It's Firebolt. Firebolt, I don't rate that highly, but it's still better than Firebolt because you'll have less likely. Well, it's comparable. But not that important though because it doesn't live outside of context. It lives in context.
yes.
Agonizing Blast is great. Repelling Blast is neat. You can do some cool and powerful stuff with it. It is twinnable, or not twinnable, quickenable, which means you can just send out volleys of these things that just burn people down ridiculously fast. It's a really huge component of a few specific builds that make it very appealing. And even if you're not doing those specific builds, it's just kind of extra attack for Warlocks. If you don't want to think about a build, you just go Eldritch Blast, Agonizing Blast, and then whatever the hell else I want, and you'll do fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cantrip that is still relevant late in the game.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Gravity Fissure.
Another one of these fun gravity spells. This is a giant boon Matt Mercer brought to. I say Matt Mercer, the Explorer's Guide to Wild, not the Critical Role book. It's one of the boons that book brought is just a million new force damage spells because there weren't a ton. This is a 6th level one. It's got a 100-foot line and makes it 88 force damage, 15-foot total wide line that sucks things to the center. It's like a lightning bolt, but it kind of like squeezes things in. It's got a 100-foot range and a 15-foot wide line in total.
That seems harder to use than the Dark Star we had before,
And the
the
damage
next
isn't.
one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, the damage also isn't great. I don't see a whole lot of value in the pull effect. Like it's 5 feet on either side, pulls them. I'm sorry, it's 10 feet on either side. So I'm sorry, I misspoke. It is 5 feet in the center and then 10 feet on either side. So it's a total of 25-foot diameter, which is a big area.
Yeah, but I mean, so it pulls them toward the center.
Yeah, it pulls them to
And
the
then
5 feet in the center of that line.
and then what?
They're
And
there.
just,
And the
all
spell
right,
ends.
like if I'm a big fan of force movement, but I want it to be pulling towards something that's going to hurt them. Like,
Well,
I
maybe
guess,
you line it up directly on top of a very long spike growth.
or a wall of fire or something, but that's asking a bit.
And also, every time we're talking about 6th level spells, moving things into 2nd level spells, I'm immediately like, we're going down the wrong road.
Yeah.
This is not the path we should be on.
Yeah, this doesn't. I don't really see the value in the pull.
I don't either. So we're rating this as a very wide, very long line spell, and it does medium damage. So see, giant area, decent damage.
This feels worse than Draconic Transformation, but yeah, okay, see, it's not a Banishing Smite or a Chaos Bolt.
All right, you've convinced me. Let's move Draconic Transformation up to B tier.
All right,
I think
I
that's
feel
close
better
to.
about that.
I think that's closer to Disintegrate. The repeatability, there is a really high ceiling on that spell. I think.
Yeah. Okay, good. This looks better to me.
Yeah, commoners already said that's way too low. Don't worry, it's already moved. It might move higher. Who knows?
All right. Next, another gravity spell. We have Gravity Sinkhole.
Yeah, so this is 20-foot radius sphere of crushing force that like it tugs things. Each creature in the sphere makes a con save or takes 5 to 10 force and pull towards the center. So it's a similar effect, but at a 4th level rate. This seems a lot better to me because it's 20-foot radius sphere, which is bigger.
Yes.
As far as like, when I say bigger, it is like a place you put that pulls things directionally in a way you would care about.
Right.
The damage is not great, but fine. It's like comparable to Ice Storm, which is not where I necessarily want to be with my damage spells.
But all right, I'll tell you what else I like. We had a Gravity Fissure is pulling toward the center in a very long line, so you're not really concentrating your enemies anywhere. They're all at, even if they all like get pulled, they're still like spread out along this line.
100-foot line. They're somewhere on the
Right.
100-foot line.
Gravity Sinkhole, you're pulling them all toward the same place where you can hit them with a fireball or something.
Someone else hits them with the fireball because they can absolutely move out of this the second it's done.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I don't So again, we don't rate Ice Storm particularly highly, right? And that's a stack of damage for a 4th level slot that puts difficult terrain down. It's 2d8 bludgeoning, 46 cold compared to this 5d10 force, which I think is pretty comparable. This is slightly higher damage than Ice Storm, which is probably good because Ice Storm's under damaged.
Mhm.
I don't know. This seems pretty unremarkable to me, even in the best case scenario. Maybe it's still passable if you can set it up. You can do cool things that keep it out of D tier into C tier. Like, I don't think this
Oh,
is
is that?
breaking C tier, right?
I guess not. What level is this?
4.
4. That's not asking super much. And it's yeah. All right, I can go see.
It is way under damaged for the slot, and if you
Yeah.
can't get the movement to matter, you just wish you cast Fireball, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the movement. You have to care about the movement.
Yeah, and I think that's a tall order.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because it is. I mean, I said before, all right, you bring them all together, and then somebody casts fireball, but this is already fireball area, so
And a wizard exclusive.
right.
You've convinced me. We're dropping this to D.
I was trying to talk it up. All right.
It's just underrate Fireball for a higher level slot most of the time, right? You could probably
Yeah.
do some fun stuff with it, but you definitely have to jump through hoops, like a lot of
Yeah.
hoops for that to start happening.
Yeah. All right. You've convinced me. All right. Next up, ooh, one of my old antagonists, Jim's magic missile.
You hate this thing. I don't think it's the end of the world.
I mean, I think it's a fine spell. I just hate the text.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it with just typing, because I don't remember the exact. This is an attack roll based magic missile, which is the most interesting element of it. Yeah, here we go. So it is, you make attacks with the darts as opposed to magic missile, which auto hits.
Yeah.
Each one that hits does more damage,
Mhm.
and then it can crit, or if you roll a 1, it explodes in your face for 1 point of damage per missile, which isn't the end of the world, honestly.
No.
I think it's kind of really cute. I would play this with, I say that. I'm the kind of person that likes my spells to be consistent, but I do think the variance here makes the spell a lot more fun and interesting. And because you get 3 missiles, I don't mind as much the chance of missing, because the damage is D4 or 2d4 versus D4 plus 2, or D4 plus 1, so it is on average higher damage. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. It probably doesn't jump out of B territory, but for your first level spells slot, 64 damage is a good chunk.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Oh, but yeah, that text. It's what was it? Remind me. I
You
want to be
create 3
angry
twisting,
again.
whistling, hypoallergenic, gluten-free darts of magical force.
Hyperallergenic gluten-free darts. Hilarious.
Your reaction makes me giggle.
Just
I don't mind it.
that's okay, boomer. Huh? Remember that? Fuck Jim's magic missile.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, on to the original Magic Missile.
Regular magic missile.
I think Magic Missile has fallen a pretty long way from grace. I get
Really?
lower on this thing the longer I play this game. But
Does that mean we're not putting it in A? Because I mean, reliability means something to me. Consistency. If you absolutely need to hit something, you've got it. Also, the versatility. You can spread it around. You can concentrate it on one thing.
okay, here it's 10 damage, right? You get 11 damage worth of missiles between those two numbers. If we compare that to Jim's magic missile, it's 15 damage.
Miss.
It's literally 2/3 damage less. If you hit 2 of the missiles, which you are likely to do, you're happy with Jim's magic missile, but Jim's magic missile has the upside of maybe it does more. This is,
if you
it's likely
absolutely
to
need to
do,
hit something.
when like, absolutely need to hit something for 10 damage. I like the modality of it also has fallen a lot in my favor, just because like I don't know if I ever want to hit something for 3, right? Like I have to know something is really injured in that window. It could be good, and then I hit it for 2, then I hit it for 3, I hit it for 4, like somewhere in that range. But most of the time I'm seeing all this onto one target anyway, and then like you compare it to Chromatic Orb, which is again not a spell I'm particularly high on. I guess
No.
get it. I would trade always hitting for 4 damage, 3 damage, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. I don't think I'm talking you up to A, and you're kind of talking me down a little bit.
Let's go with B. There
Yeah.
is something to say for consistency. I don't think this is a thing that benefits every sheet. I think you want I think this is a fallback damage battery, not a tool you reach for first.
Well, I like it next to Jim's magic missile because it is comparable, and
Yeah.
there are ups and downs to both of them, which I feel evens them out. So
Definitely.
that feels good to me.
I also think they both, while having a similar framework, offer different cool design decisions and
Yeah,
design reasons why you put it on your sheet, right? Like Jim's Magic Missile has a lot more variance, but the variance is part of the fun of it. Whereas
right.
Magic Missile you take because it's one of the few guaranteed consistent effects in this game.
Yes.
That's cool.
All right, back to gravity. We have magnify gravity.
Oh, Magnify Gravity. I love this spell. It is simple. It is a first level effect. It is. Did I spell it wrong? I spelled gravity. Gravity. There we go. It is a 10-foot radius sphere that does 2d8 force damage. So, like, we can compare that to Ice Knife and Burning Hands, and we're under on that. It also has some needed flex, so it has things speed, which can matter. And it also bolts down objects unless things pass a DC to pick it up and move it. All of that together still probably doesn't make up for the lack of damage this thing is doing. That being said, it doing all these things makes it a really cool tool to have on your sheet, I think.
I agree with that.
Now,
How
so cool
cool.
that it gets B
Yeah,
tier? No.
no,
C tier, I think, seems fair enough for this thing.
I think so. Oh, we don't have any Fs yet.
Force damage is good.
Yeah. All right, next we have Pulse Wave.
Another Explorer's Guide to Wildmount spell. This is a third level option for 66 force damage and a 30-foot cone. I'm already on board because it does more things. Each creature that fails to save is pulled or pushed 15 feet from you in the cone, which is really neat. You get a big 30-foot cone, you either blast things out or pull things towards you with almost fireball damage. 2d6 is a little bit under, but
Do you choose?
yep.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And untended objects are blown around and stuff too. That's cool. That does have a genuinely pretty big upside over Fireball, in that you can just be like, everything get off me. It's
Yeah.
Thunderwave Plus, right? But it is better than that because it also has the pull modality. Now it's more expensive, but there's a lot of actual interesting stuff here. So much so that I'm actually want to put this in A tier.
Woohoo! All
I like this
right.
thing a lot. Like, you think it's pretty cool
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know how I feel. I like pushing and pulling things. But yeah, when you're doing enough damage and moving people around, even better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool modality to this thing.
You know what I will say? I'm glad that book came out before we did this video because we wouldn't
We'd
have
have
any
like
spells.
6 spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Ravenous Void.
This is the 9th level one. It's a 20-foot radius sphere of destructive gravitational force. For this duration, the sphere and anything within 100 feet of it are difficult terrain. When the sphere appears at 30 feet of your turns, unsecured stuff is pulled within 100 feet of the sphere towards the center, ending in the closest space to the center as possible, which is a huge distance to move instantaneously. And then a creature that starts within 100 feet of the sphere makes a strength save or is pulled straight towards the center, ending in an occupied space closest as possible. A creature that enters the sphere for the first time on a turn or twice takes 5d10 force damage and is restrained by the sphere. If it's in the air, it hovers inside of it, and it makes strength saves to try and break free. A creature that reduces 0 hit points is annihilated. So it's like a black hole. Now, for being a black hole, 5d10 damage is not that impressive.
No, but
right?
what level is this?
9.
Oh wow.
It's a 100-foot radius sphere, so like this I think plays closer to the realm of Earthquake than it does to the realm of like Meteor Swarm. Well, Meteor Swarm also blows a lot of things up, but like the 9th level, like Blade of Disaster, we just talked on that one, right? That's like a fair 9th level effect that is just good in combat. This is more of a world destruction spell. It's got a 1,000-foot range, so you want to just like do some terrorism and blow up a large city. Yeah, this is what you got. Or not a large city, but a couple blocks.
Yeah.
That seems like a giant vacuous space. You kill a lot of little things with this, I think.
And how long does this last?
Concentration up to a minute.
Wow. Yeah, well, with a 1,000-foot range, your concentration's pretty safe.
Yeah.
There's got that going for it.
I think we probably should give this a D.
D?
It's 5d10 damage for a 9th level spell.
I get that. Well, it's continuous damage, and but it depends on what
only
you want.
damages them if they fail the save.
Right. What do you want to use it for? If we answer that question, we answer how effectively does it do that? Because this isn't.
I already told you I want to use it for domestic terrorism, and that's it.
Well, it does a fantastic job of that.
It does. But what players need that?
that's all right. That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I don't know. I want to like this one more, but D might be right. There's
Like it's
I can't think of a player in D&D in a situation where I'd want to use this. This is
yeah, same.
maybe a villain kind of thing where they use it and you survive it, but that's like the instigating point of the story. I don't know.
It's like a silver bullet against high CR weak creatures that don't have high strength, maybe. Like you just set this down and go, okay, we'll let the Ninth Level spell take care of them for however much damage. But like at that point, you need to get a lot of rounds out of this to justify it over even crappier damage spells. Yeah.
Mm.
It's not an F, it does something, it does something cool, but
Yeah. All right. Next up, spiritual weapon.
I really do think this deserves to be S tier.
Ooh,
I love spiritual weapon.
gonna get some comments on that.
We're gonna get one specific comment on that.
Over and over again though.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
It's cleric's bread and butter ability. If you're going full cleric, it doesn't take concentration for some unholy reason in the current edition. I believe the next one they're updating, so it will. So, if you're allowed to use older versions of things, you should, because it'll be strictly better. You just conjure a weapon that is a bonus action, free attack every round as a cleric, and that's excellent. D8 plus spellcasting mod in the low to mid tiers, you will be always happy to put this thing out there. I think you will pretty happily cast this using 3rd level slots for the bonus 2d8 damage every round. I think you'll be happy spending 4th, 5th level slots for the same thing. Up until you have summons, this is like as good as you get, and it feels like a summon. This thing is super powerful.
Well, because it doesn't require concentration, it
Yeah.
works together with summons.
Yes.
Yeah, the only downside, it's got that 20-foot movement speed, but if you're in the heat of battle, I don't think that's as big an issue as our commenters seem to.
Yeah, I think that's the case. It does ask you a real question, which is when do you set this up? If you go high at initiative order on cleric, if things are far away, unlucky. That's this is one of those rare spells where you want to go later initiative order, whenever things are close to where they're planning on staying. And then you slam this thing down near the most of them, and I have not experienced many issues getting this thing in range to hit stuff with it.
Yeah.
It's routinely been the best spell on my low tier cleric spell sheets.
All right. Well, there you have it. Next, Sam's take. Yes. Steel Wind Strike.
I'm so. It's uniquely bad on Rangers, where it is supposed to be coolest, because you pick 5 things, make a spell attack against them, and do a 60-10 force damage on hit. It's a spell attack roll for Rangers, which is just not where why can't it be a regular attack roll? Like, you're so much less likely to hit with it.
I don't know. I do know a lot of people like it.
It's not very good. It's cool. I say
Yeah.
it's not very good. It's like decent damage for wizards. Like whenever you cast it at the 9th level spell slot, all right, 60-10 damage. If we compare that to, let's see, if we go to my dice calculator, good old dice calculator. Shout out to dice.clockworkmod.com. I use this thing constantly. Not a sponsor, just a site that I always use and does dice rolls for me. 60-10 is an average of 33 damage. Uh-oh. What level spell is this? This is a 5th level spell? Hold on. Because an upcast fireball does 35 damage. This only hits things that are within 30 feet of each other. Wait a second. Fireball's a 20-foot radius sphere. That always does damage. This doesn't always do damage. I mean, it's unfair to compare everything to Fireball, but like that doesn't get us out of C tier, does it?
No, I wasn't going far out of C tier anyway. Are you okay with C?
Its range is 30 feet, so if you're a wizard, you want to be up in there. Like I'll give it this. If my Blade Singer casts this, I'm over the moon because it's not that great compared to what other things they can do possibly. And it's cool on Blade Singer. I think it's a great fantasy on Blade Singer. It's fair on them, right? That's the archetype I think that actually wants this to work.
Yeah.
It being selective means you can use this without having to worry about things. Okay, sure. C tier still seems fine to me. Between range restriction, but modality of this doesn't hit your allies. On Wizards specifically, I'm into it. On Rangers, I'm less into it. I'm a lot less into it. So.
All right. Great. Next up, we have Sword Burst.
The longer I think about these spells, the lower I get on them. So this is the D6 area within 5 feet of you. Cantrip.
Gotta keep us moving.
Is this?
It's like going to the supermarket with my wife. Stop looking at stuff. We're not buying
Just
anything
make
else.
a decision.
Yes.
Put it somewhere. Sword Burst Bob. D6 force damage, 5 feet around you. Thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Conceptually, I like it. It's what was this? A cantrip?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I think you can have fun with it.
It's a D6 damage to things within 5 feet of you.
Yes. So you jump into the fray and
Deal 3 damage to things around you. 3 is not a big number.
no, it's not. But if
You know
you
what
can
is a big number? 5 attack rolls. That's a big number.
all right. If you can get like 8 creatures around you.
That all have 3 hit points.
Well, no, they don't need to all have 3 hit points. All right, wait, what's the casting time on this one? An
1
action?
action.
Oh yeah, all right, that's rough.
I do think I've lowered myself to a point where I think we should fail this.
Okay.
I genuinely don't think a sheet should put sword burst on it. I've wanted to
Yeah.
for a very long time. I don't see it. I really don't. The more I play this game, the less I think sword burst has a home in it.
I'm trying to think of a justification, but I can't argue with that. That's not a lot of damage.
It's
And
terrible
like,
damage. The payoff for where you have to position is not there.
no, that's just it. I mean, it could be fun to try to use, but like, yeah, it's not killing anything. And then you're surrounded by people that are angry because you just magic stabbed them.
Yeah, like give me a D10 at least. Then it
Yeah.
scales better and we have a little more interesting decisions with Quicken Spell, but D6? No.
All right,
Absolutely not.
we've got our first F.
The only notable F. In other tier lists, this probably would be a D.
All right. And
There
our
are worse
last.
spells than Sword Burst.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm looking forward to our worst spells video.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, last up we have Zephyr Strike.
First level transmutation spell, bonus action to cast. You move like the wind. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Once before the spell ends, you get advantage on attack roll. It does a bonus D8 damage on hit. Whenever you hit or miss, your speed increases by 30 for a turn. It's a ranger spell.
I think
I
this
like
is a
this
cool
thing.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. It does a lot of little things. No opportunity attacks is a little thing that it does. A bonus D8 damage is a little thing that it does, like a mini smite. Bonus 30-foot dash for a bonus action. That's a little thing that it does. I do like this more on melee rangers, but even on range rangers, you get the advantage still. Like, this is a lot of little things. Concentration's a little bit annoying, but if I'm playing a low tier ranger, I can see that, especially if I'm a melee low tier ranger, I can see this being pretty comfortable on my sheet.
Sure.
I've never seen it cast. It's been out for a while, but it seems like it should be pretty decent. It's still like the ceiling on this is very low. It's advantage on attack roll and bonus D8 damage, and maybe you get out of a sticky situation. See?
Yeah, I think it's got more potential, but I can't articulate it right now. So
That's fair.
C is fine. It's definitely above a D.
Yeah, it's a middle of the road ranger spell that I would be happy to put on some ranger sheets, but not most of them.
All right, I guess that's what C means. All right, well, that was it. Got anything else to say?
You want to move any of these around, or are we happy with where they all are? I like this. This looks decent.
Yeah, it looks good. It's not a, we got a little bulge in the middle there with B's and C's, but nothing's really running away with anything.
Yeah, there's less D's than normal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I do. Okay, I've talked myself into it. I try to reserve Fs for spells that actively don't do anything, and Sword Burst technically does something. So let's move it out of F to D. Like, I think about the other spells we put in that category, and Sword Burst is better than those. All right, fine. No Fs for force damage.
Happy Sword Burst. Like, yeah, it was like the only kid left in the orphanage, but now you've been adopted. All right.
More like put into foster care, I think is what D more lands. But like, all right, commoners, is Ravenous Void supposed to be higher? Is Spiritual Weapon's supposed to be lower. What are the ones you disagree on most? I could see Disintegrate moving down. I could see Ravenous Void moving up.
Really, I thought Disintegrate might be people might want that moved up.
Maybe. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. What
Yeah.
ones are wildly out of place? Is Eldritch Blast overrated by even me? I'm a known hater for Eldritch Blast, so.
Steel Wind Strike, Zephyr Strike. I know there are rangers that watch this that like those two.
True.
We're eager to hear your thoughts. Let us know down in the comments. All right, those were force damage spells. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.